Hello everyone, and today we are going to present the SNP e-invoicing tool. This is we are going to call it in Polish KSeF, and in English the abbreviation comes from National System of E-invoicing. So this is our main topic for today, and we're also going to show you the legal status, what it is right now, and how we are going to help you with this and our ready solution to be implemented. So let's go to see some agenda for today. So first of all, we are going to start what is in general the invoicing in Poland is what is going to be legal status, technical aspects of our solution. Later, my colleague Natalia, she's going to present you the architecture of the solution, and at the very end, we are going to show you the live demo in our systems. And at the end, what is our proposal when it comes to the implementation of our tool? Yep, so let's start with the introduction. What is the e-invoicing? What is the National System of E-invoicing, KSeF? So from next year, it's going to be a voluntary access to the system, and this system will help companies within Poland to distribute the documents. It is a new legal requirement. Next year, as I said, it will be not obligatory, but it's supposed to. From 2023, it will be an obligatory thing. However, it's not mentioned yet in legal acts. But we hear it from all of the places that it's going to be mandatory. So for the next year, it's like the period to get ready for this and maybe to test somehow this platform. Nevertheless, the Ministry of Finance in Poland, they have given the test platform and the API from October 2021, and we have also created the connection to this platform. There is not such a possibility to log into this platform, but there is a possibility within the API to connect and to send some information and to validate the data. So there is not a lot of functionality yet given, but some of it, yes. And next year, it will be one of the acceptable form of documentation of the transactions. Next year, we are still going to have the paper format of the invoice, PDF, like in electronic invoices. And this e-invoice is going to be a new one, which will also have very detailed structure. And this detailed structure is given by the scheme of XSD file. In this file, there is more than 350 fields that have to be somehow filled, and later on I'm going to present you also those fields. What else is also important that from next year, to send those invoices to your customer within this invoicing portal will require the acceptance of your client. So you will need to have the acceptance that there will be this channel of distribution of the invoice will be used. Of course, you can still use your current, but from 2023 there will be the only one acceptable from the point of taxation and so on. So all of the invoices created in SAP, and not only in the SAP, of course, will go through the API. And so there will be no manual steps needed. Of course, the manual steps sometimes might be needed, but in our solution, we are going to send them from the system and not only from the SAP. What is the intention of our tax authorities? That to improve the control of and correctness of the VAT settlements. Yes, and it should be much easier in the future for remote control monitoring or controlling by the authorities. What is also important that all of the invoices will be sent over there and they will be stored for next 10 years. but in some cases in Poland that those 10 years is not enough, so you will still in some cases need to download those invoices from the system, because the system not only allows you to send the invoices, but it also allows you to download invoices that have been, let's say, created by your vendors to you. So yes, so sometimes you will need to download them and collect them for more than 10 years. If you are going to implement this invoicing, and the 100% will be sent through this platform, then will be no more obligatory of standard audit file for tax purposes for the structure of sales invoices. Then it will be not required any longer. That's a good news. Why it will be not required any longer? Because all of the fields that we know from this structure, this standard audit file structure, will be also used and also have to be filled in this invoice. So it will be just a duplicate of the information, but to avoid this JPK file, you have to send 100% through this e-invoicing platform. So there will be no longer duplicates invoice required to be created for your clients, because all of the documents will be online. You might have a quicker VAT refund for 40 days. But once again, there is a lot of conditions that you have to meet. So all of the invoices, once again, you have to be active taxpayer, you have to be on the whitelist. And from my perspective, what is the biggest advantage of implementing e-invoice in your company is that in the future, you will be able to correction invoices. You will be able to deduct tax in the month that you are going to issue the invoice. You will not need to have any kind of the documentation and the acceptance like it's nowadays. Now you have the document, you need to have a documentation or the acceptance. So it will be a little bit change from my perspective, the biggest one. So what is the legal process? The legal process is that it was already in our, let's say, in our parliament, it was already signed, and now it is just waiting for our president to be signed. So and they have like till end of the November. Probably this sign will be given and will be, and the whole information, the whole process will be in force from 2022. Yes. So what data is required? So just in general, the Poland is not the first country that is going to implement the e-invoicing, as you probably know. Our Polish implementation will be the combination of Spain and Italy. Yes. So it will be more or less online processing, or we will more or less online process the invoice to the Ministry of Finance. You could send them one by one or by the batch. So it's a lot of documents could be sent with one transfer to the Ministry of Finance. So you probably know some of those fields from already implemented standard audit file. From your implementation of the standard audit file, like I said, there's more than 350 fields that have to be mapped. For example, you have goods and services codes that have to be mapped to your materials. Yes, we already have this in VAT structure of the JPK, but over there it was on the header, so it was about the whole document. But over here we need to go into details on the line item of the invoice. There is a sales procedures, for example, if it's a related party transaction or is some custom procedure over there, and so on. The currency and the exchange rate, it's also required. The dates of issue, dates of delivery, where it was, the net value, gross values, of course, it's obvious, but also the discount values, the discount amounts, There are also known from this JPK sales invoices. There's a lot of information about which documents you are about the correction invoices, that which period and why and to which invoice it was created. Those fees are also known from JPK. So if you have like self-invoicing, reverse charge, or cash method is used, and so on. And for example, why you have the tax exemption. Another annotation that's a good point. There is also a field that it's in the general characteristic of it. It's any, like field of any. So you can put any necessary information on the invoice, which is not over here presented, and on the next slides and so on. You may put it in this field, like any. We will have the following types of the invoices: VAT, correction invoices, advance payment, and settlements. And also some of the combinations of them and all of the possibilities of the corrections of them. We'll have the information about the payment information, terms of transportation, like Incoterms, for example, about the order. Yes, when it comes to, for example, to the prepayment, we need all of this information about the orders. And this is amounts of the duties, for example. Yeah, it's also required. The payment terms and the bank accounts are also required to be presented. It was no before that it was never needed to be presented in any electronic stuff that is required in Poland. But yep, so it was like those fields are more or less known, but there is a lot of new information that is needed. For example, factor, if you use factoring, then you need to give the factor's bank account, for example. You need to give a shipping address, by whom it was done, the shipping, and his address as well, the time of the completion of the transport, when it was started. For example, here is one of my favorites. What was the color of the new car, for example? Yes, because over here we have the information in general about about the cars. Yes, but it's also more or less the same for example, for aircraft, ships, and for boats and so on. So there is a lot of information that needs to be given. Some of them, of course, they are not obligatory, but you see that there is some very detailed and brand name, color, a model, less registration number, and so on. So there is a lot of information that needs to be given. So like I said, more than 350 fields. Here we also have, once again, this is a part of documentation given by the Ministry of Finance. Some of the documentation is in English already, and some of it is more of them is unfortunately only in Polish one language. So here we have the types of the documents that have to be sent to the Ministry of Finance, and each of this document types, there is some samples given by the Ministry of Finance. There are some 19 samples, and all Ministry of Finance also given for each sample how the invoice supposed to look like. Yes, how it's supposed to look like. So we also, based on this given examples from the Ministry of Finance, we have created our tool to fulfill in exactly the same way the invoice. Yeah. So frequently asked questions are ready to ask. So the date of issue and then the date of the receipt of the invoice. So in general, there will be two dates in the system. The first one when you have tried to submit it to this platform, and the second date, and also the second date will be the moment when there was this platform is going to assign you this platform number, because on this platform each document will have individual unique number. So it will come back to your system, and it will be each document, each invoice will be also marked in SAP with this e-invoice number, which is also important, for example, for the correction invoices. for example, on the correction invoices, you don't have to only present the invoice number, but also the e-invoice. So this from this platform, the number of which document you are going to correct. Invoice errors, for example, nowadays, if there is some problems with the invoice, there is not every time you, for example, you contact with your client and you're saying that something is wrong. So that might be a situation that you are not going to, let's say, obtain this invoice, or maybe they are just very quickly send you a new one. With this errors, some small errors, for example, but over here there will be no possibility to correct those errors, and probably the new invoice will need to be issued once again through the system. And now we will go to the technical aspects. So I'm giving the microphone to Natalia.
Thank you, Szymon. I will share my screen in a minute. Okay, so we already know what the legal context and requirements related to the new regulations look like. So let's move on to the technical aspects of the SNP KSeF solution. And let's start with how this solution is built. So the basic variant that we want to discuss in the case when issuing and accepting invoices takes place in the SAP system, and it is the SAP that is to be integrated with the National E-invoicing System. The solution we have prepared for you consists of two components. First is the SNP KSeF extractor, which is an add-on installed in the SAP. And the second one is the SNP KSeF Hub, which is a cloud service provided as part of SNP Managed Cloud. These two components communicate with each other using web services available through HTTPS connection encrypted using strong SSL certificates. To ensure an adequate level of security, we recommend to configure the traffic via proxy. But if your security policies require it, there is also technical possibility to pass the traffic through a VPN or a subrouter. What also is worth emphasizing in the context of security is, for example, the fact that the communication is always initiated by the SAP system, so there's only outbound traffic from SAP. The connection between KSeF Hub and the National E-invoicing System will be handled via the API of the KSeF platform. The ministry still works on the API and releases new amendments and updates, and that's what we expected on this stage of the project. But based on our experience in the field of integration with numerous ministerial platforms, we predict that the specification will evolve and require updates for a good few months, even after launch of the production solution. What does such architecture give us? First of all, it significantly facilitates integration with external systems that can make these documents available to your customers while offering additional functionalities. Secondly, thanks to this architecture, we are not limited only to SAP as a source system for issuing invoices. SNP KSeF Hub can accept documents to be transferred to Ministry of Finance platform also from other systems that have the ability to be integrated by web services. In other words, if your invoices are issued in systems other than SAP, there is no need to transfer all this data to SAP just to transfer it to KSeF. Instead, you can set up a direct connection between that system and the KSeF Hub service. And back to the connection between SNP Managed Cloud and the Ministry platform. Any access to the KSeF API will, of course, require authentication. And from the information that we that has been given by the ministry so far, we know that one of the following methods can be used for authentication. So the first is qualified electronic signature. Next, qualified electronic seal. Thirdly, trusted signature. And last but not least, a unique token generated by the National E-invoicing System assigned to a taxpayer or an authorized entity. Part of the SNP KSeF blueprint that focuses on authentication to the KSeF platform has not yet been finalized because the information and specifications we obtained so far were not enough to refine all the technical details. So we are constantly following all the news in this topic and waiting for the missing pieces of the puzzle to be able to present you our comprehensive solution. Within the standard scope of the solution, you can receive purchase invoices issued for you by your suppliers and made available by the National E-invoicing System. Secondly, you can transfer sales invoices issued for your clients to the National E-invoicing System. And thirdly, you can download from the National E-invoicing System the sales invoices that you have issued in the past, which exempts you from the need to archive these documents yourself in most cases. The solution has been designed to be flexible and easily expandable. A few proposed possibilities then that can be easily launched together with the SNP KSeF are, for example, sending electronic invoices to customers who do not use KSeF through other channels, especially in this period when the KSeF solution isn't obligatory, and this might be through an email or other channels. Secondly, signing agreements with customers, for example, the agreement for accepting receiving documents via KSeF. Thirdly, providing invoices to customers in a dedicated portal, for example, SNP billing portal, which will be also used during our live demo today, which can improve process related to invoice complaints, monitoring receivables, providing contractors with other types of documents, etc. So additional functionalities suit to your needs. Next, integration with the EDI platforms, for example, SNP Edi, and building a channel with contractors for an effective exchange of various types of documents. Besides, integration with other external systems, both if the system is a source of the data for invoices, and as well in case when the data from KSeF Hub would be sent to this system. And of course, other custom solutions tailored to your needs.
Okay, here it comes once again back to mine slides. So where we take the data from. So like Natalia said, that there is not only SAP when it comes to the data and invoicing. We are not only focus on SAP, but also other solutions that distribute this invoice will be possible. But when it comes to SAP, we take it from two fields. We have to distinguish the sales and the purchase invoices. So when we are going to upload them to the system, then we talk about the sales invoices, and in general we take them from sales and distribution, yes, and from the finance model. There is a lot of information that is going to be used, of course, but not every single data is going to be there. For this reason, we also have created our mappings and our customizing to achieve this all of these 350 fields that have to be mapped. So not every single field is already in the SAP. So we can create a logic, and based on this logic, these characteristics will be fulfilled. What else? Also for someone who have the huge billing procedures every month, so they probably you have the FICA model. So also there is a possibility to implement our solution within this model. And we are going to support also the external posting interfaces. So usually when you have some external source of the billings of external system for the billings, then you only interface the most required information to the financial model, and there is also some lack of the data then in the system. Then you simply do not use the sales in distribution. In that case, we are going to also to support those interfaces to fulfill the necessary data and to have the full information in the SAP. And based on this, we are going to create e-invoice as well. And when it comes to the purchase invoices, so we will be able to download them and also to post them. Mainly, it's the easiest way is to use the warehouse management module. Then we have also this purchase orders, and later on in the demo, I'm going also to show you that how it's going to be working. And also the financial module when it comes to the standard purchase invoices not related to the warehouse. We also have some thoughts how to deal with this, and we are also going to try to help you with posting only in F5 as well. Thank you, Natalia.
Okay, what does the data flow look like in SNP KSeF? If you're a customer and you want to download purchase invoices issued for you via SNP KSeF, Extractor will periodically send a query to the KSeF Hub, which will download pending documents from the ministry's platform and return them to SAP system. So the flow is quite simple. In case when you are a seller and issue invoices for your customers, after KSeF Extractor generates the invoice in the XML format, it is forwarded to the KSeF Hub. There it is prepared for shipment to the KSeF and sent to KSeF API. The KSeF Hub then retrieves the return message from the KSeF platform. So the document ID assigned by the KSeF or some error message if, for example, there's some validation issue, and forwards it through the SAP system. In addition, SNP KSeF is designed in such a way as to maximally eliminate the inconvenience on your side related to unavailability, downtime, technical breaks of the KSeF platform. And for such situations, we have designed special mechanisms in the KSeF Hub module that take care of caching and resending documents to the Ministry of Finance. Please also note that in the SNP KSeF Hub, the invoice content is not saved or stored in any database. It's a module that does not archive your documents. It processes them, and when the processing is completed, the invoice file disappears from our platform, from our system. Nevertheless, you do not have to worry about archiving documents yourself in most cases, because with the SNP KSeF, you can use the archive offered by the KSeF platform. In such case, invoices that you have previously submitted to the KSeF, you can download them at any time from the ministry platform using our application. What else is worth emphasizing is the fact that on this stage, you already have a working channel for sharing invoices, sharing invoice data, and it can be used not only for integration with KSeF platform. The solution is designed to be flexible and easily extended, so you can also define other integration scenarios tailored to your needs. As I have already mentioned before. So, for example, you can set up an EDI channel, you can send documents to users via email, you can share documents in portal, which give contractors insight into all their documents, and additionally provide various functionalities supporting the handling of process related to these documents. For example, automated invoice complaints if documents require correction, information on settlements, balances, and receivables, access to active contracts and agreements, electronic payments, and many other functionalities tailor-made. The SNP KSeF Hub component is a cloud service provided as a part of the SNP Managed Cloud. So actually, why was this solution designed this way? Why is our cloud the best choice for this case? First of all, because of the updates. With such an architecture, most updates do not require interference in SAP. In most cases, all changes are made on the side of the SNP KSeF module. Then it is fully handled by SNP and practically transparent for you. As a result, updates do not involve you, are available faster, and carry less risk of problems. This is especially important because knowing the reality of the projects concerning integration with new governmental systems, we can suspect that the ministry's API will be refined and modified for a long time, and SNP KSeF will be adjusted to the changes on the ongoing basis. The second issue is that by having access to the entire environment in which the solution works, we are able to provide you with higher level of support, carry out a more in-depth analysis of the problem without involving teams responsible for the infrastructure and applications on your side, and thus solve possible problems faster and more effectively. In addition, in this architecture, we minimize configurations within the infrastructure on your side, which translates into minimizing potential points of failure regarding integration. Services and systems maintained by SNP Managed Cloud, including SNP XeF Hub, are monitored 24 hours, 7 days a week, and monitoring system catch the unavailabilities within 10 seconds. And this guarantees the highest standards in terms of solution availability and relieves you of any responsibility in this regard. The same applies to maintenance, servicing of the infrastructure, and uploading updates and security patches. The whole responsibility for the infrastructure in which the SNP XeF Hub rests lies with SNP. Furthermore, thanks to such architecture, you do not have to set up your own infrastructure, buy licenses, worry about virtual machines, resources, backups, etc. And this, of course, translates directly into a significant reduction of costs associated with both maintenance and launching of the solution. In general, starting and configuring such solution is much easier. You do not have to introduce complicated configurations or changes in your own infrastructure. In the permissions system, in the network infrastructure, most of what you will have to do is passing the outbound traffic, outbound network traffic, and apply some configuration at the SAP level regarding the SAP extractor. The solution has been designed to meet the highest standards of security, proxy, HTTPS, encrypted connection, only outbound traffic, no data storage in intermediate components. SNP XeF is developed in and maintained, of course, in the same ecosystem and according to the same procedures as, for example, Edi and e-billing portal solutions, which are certified with the ISO 27018, which is a norm ensuring high standards for the security of data processing in the cloud. What else is worth knowing about SNP XeF? Above all, that it is a solution with solid foundations built on years of experience in projects and products from the same area, such as Edi Edi Platforms supporting 4 years, EDI exchange between dozens of our customers, a billing portal providing hundreds of thousands of invoices per month, some even up to 5,000 pages one. JPK transfer, enabling integration with the platform of the Ministry of Finance in scope of sending standard audit files for taxes for hundreds of our customers. Partner checker supporting integration with the API of the National Tax Administration with the Regon database and the European VICE system, and currently providing support for up to 1.5 million of inquiries per month. NIP Checker, the predecessor of Partner Checker, which provides integration with the API of the Ministry of Finance and the VICE system. BP Data Checker, used for integration with Regon database. ZSMOPL, enabling integration with the integrated system for monitoring the trade in medicines managed by Ministry of Health. Send solution, allowing integration with the platform of electronic treasury and customs services governed by the National Tax Administration, and many other projects that we have completed in Poland and around the world.
Okay, now we'll do short live demo for a tool. All of our products are developed in our namespace, so by importing the starting package, we are not going to change anything in your system. Our tool is primarily developed in Polish language, but in the translation will be done at the end. Yes, at the end we will do all of the translations that it will be required. But for now, I'm locked in Polish language, so I'm going to present it in Polish. However, I'm going to translate the most needed stuff into English. So we have the two ways of working with our tool for outgoing invoices and for incoming invoices. Here we have the Enviro Monitor. We have collecting all of the invoices from the system that should be sent to the Ministry of Finance. You can send them one by one, or you can group them. Our tool is basically every minute it's collecting the data from the system. You can set up every time that you want, like 50 minutes per 1 hour. It's going to be collecting, or twice a day. It's up to you. So yes, here we have two documents that were created initially in the system. So the first one, as you see, this is a standard invoice. Yes, here we have a standard invoice. And this standard invoice, you see by whom it was created, what was the change. There was a wrong data address in this invoice. Later on, I have also changed it manually. You could see how it was changed manually over there. Here we have the invoice, and now we also have done some transfer to Natalia, and Natalia is going to also present this invoice which was transferred to our e-billing tool. So Natalia, if you could please present in your system invoice 61 and with the ending of 29.
Of course. Just give me a minute to share my screen. Okay, I hope it's visible. So because for now Ministry of Finance hasn't delivered any web application that could visualize and present the flow of the documents we will use for that purpose. To show you the process, we will use our e-billing solution. Okay, so now I will log into the application. It's an application that allows you to share different types of documents with your customers. You can see the users, you can manage the users, you can see them, the user activity logs, manage roles. For now, we are logged in to a user who has a widest scope of permissions and can view all data of all customers in the portal, and that's what we are actually interested in for now. So we come back to invoice and notes screen. Here we can search for documents associated with the customer code. And here we can see the document that was sent by Szymon. Szymon, could you repeat which number was that?
61 and 29 at the end. It's
okay, so one. Here it is. Okay, yeah, so here we can see the document, we can see its number as well as the KSeF ID, KSeF number that was that is provided by the platform of Ministry of Finance. We can see all the details that were in this document. We can download also the original document or the PDF preview. Yeah, so we can now move on to the next document. So
okay, great. So I will share my screen once again. Meanwhile, I have posted the correction invoice to this particular invoice that we have already created. I have also, there was also some changes that I have been doing. Here we have this correction invoice created. Yes. So as you could see, there's when it comes to the correction invoices, then it's it's needed to see what is the reason of the correction, and this is the correction number. So this invoice which was posted just a few minutes ago, that's 3614, is the correction to this document 61 and 29 at the end. You see this number over here, but you see also the number given by the Ministry of Finance. Yes, this platform number, which could be visible here, but at the end on this correction invoice is also presented here. So we have done the correction on the net amount of 100 zloty, and now we will just do the transfer. And Natalia will also see this document in her system. Just a second, and I will check the answer. Yes, so now the new number given by this platform is 33. So if you, Natalia, could present this document in your system.
Of course, just give me a second. Okay, so here we can see the correction invoice that was sent by Shimon a minute ago. And as well as in case of standard invoice, we can also find the invoice number. We can find the KSeF ID that was given for that correction invoice. But also we can find here details of the document that the correction invoice references to. So the corrected invoice, its number, and if it's KSeF ID. Of course, just like in case of standard invoice, we can also view the correction details. We can also download the original document or the PDF preview.
Okay, and the end we'll show the process of the incoming invoices with our tool. Okay. One more remark, maybe I will give you. Here we have also the button about the application. You can check out the manuals, updates, and similar products. And also you will have the access to our service desk when you can give us feedback on our tool. Here we have the incoming invoices, and we could deal with the invoices which were created in reference to the purchase order and the standard FI. Today we are going on this short demo version. We are going to present you only the purchase order invoices. So in the first case, that we had the information that purchase order were different than purchase order or different than the invoice. So the document was parked. Yes, documents were parked. As you could see here. So it's the park document because there was not good value of the gross amount. There was different on the purchase order, and in the second document that were posted, both values were correct. So the purchase order were correct with the invoice, and the total value was fine. So the documents were posted because no errors exist, and the match was exactly up to 1 cent. Good. So I think this is it from our short introduction, short demo. If you'll be interested in more details, so please connect with us.